Shalawam, Shalawam. First and foremost, all praises be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barak, Kadash. Right? Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS that rule well and teach well in sincerity, taught us His truth. Shalawam to you sincere brothers out there pushing and preaching for 100% doctrine, as well as you 1/3 men, women, and children maintaining yourself in this truth. Hey, we'll do a quick lesson on a couple things, man. Strength and dedication. I feel like they go hand in hand. Strength, trust, and dedication. So I'm gonna go to 1 Samuel, the 15th chapter. And verse 20. Let's read this. And this is about Saul and the Amalekites and what happened during that situation. And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of Yahawah, and have gone the way which Yahawah sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. Now, we have to go back and really look at what was supposed to happen. Right? Because he didn't obey Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Right? So, let's start at the beginning. 1 Samuel 15:1. Samuel also said unto Saul, Yahawah sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of Yahawah. Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Right? When we came out of Egypt, the Amalekites were basically knocking off everybody in the back and, attacking us. And taking out the elderly, the children, etc., the weak, right? That was straggling behind. So this is, and that's showing their bandit nature, which they are, man, Edomites, right? All they love to do is colonize and take over the weak and take advantage of people, okay? And they do it now these days, with their military steel and causing chaos in countries and things of that nature, and also through their contracts, right? So verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not. So this was the words of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, that he told Samuel to tell to Saul, right? But slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Talam, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. So Saul went and got his men together to go do that act. But, as we can see, around verse 20, let's read it one more time. And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of Yahawah, and have gone the way which Yahawah sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. He didn't say bring no king. He didn't say do none of that. He didn't say bring no king. He said slay utterly the women, the children, man, camel, ox, sheep, whatever it may be, cattle. Okay, everything. Verse 21, but the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto Yahawah thy power in Gilgal. Yahawah didn't want no sacrifices. Obedience is better than sacrifice. He didn't want no sacrifices. He said destroy everything from these people, right? And it was a similar situation in the book of Joshua when they were supposed to go into the building, the city, and destroy everything and not take no treasures. And it was a brother that took treasures, and then his whole family got wiped out because of that, because of disobedience. Okay? So understanding that, it's very important to listen to what Yahawah says and to do it to the T, to not think of your own mind, to think of your own agenda and do what you think is best. He thought it was best to take a trophy. Agag, the king, right? And the men and children, his soldiers thought it was best to take cattle and sacrifice it to Yahawah so they get, because you're going to eat the sacrifice, right? They thought it was best to do that. But that's not the way it's supposed to go. All right? Verse 22. And Samuel said, hath Yahawah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahawah? It's better to obey than to sacrifice. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Alright, so basically this was looked at as rebellion, as witchcraft, right? Because he didn't listen to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahawah, he has also rejected thee from being king. Boom, stripped from him. Now he got to live out his days as king until he was ultimately destroyed in a war, right? But as you can see, later on, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi took the spirit from Saul, okay? And this is a similar situation with, you know, Bishop Nathaniel and some of them guys in other camps, right? They may have came into this thing with, you know, maybe the right spirit and all of that, and then the spirit be stripped away from them, and they don't know how to teach it properly anymore, right? And Saul, 24, and Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of Yahawah in thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. He listened to the people over Yahawah. You don't listen to the people over Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. You don't try to appease men. He's the king. You the king, bro. Put your foot down. All right? Be the king. You got that power. You got that rulership. Okay? Yahawashi is not going to come and be like, being appeasing to people and all that. All right? If people got to get unalive down here, it's going to happen. He's not doing what you think, in your opinion, is the best thing. It's not no votes being took. Okay? So, Saul wasn't fit to rule. Really, being honest, he wasn't fit to rule at that point. Now, therefore, I pray thee, pardon my sin and turn again with me that I may worship Yahawah. But understanding that, man, it's a certain point where Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi has had enough. All right? And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of Yahawah, and Yahawah hath rejected thee from being king over Israel. And as Samuel turned about to go away, he laid hold onto the skirt of his mantle, and it rent. And Samuel said also unto him, and Samuel said unto him, Yahawah hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to a neighbor of thine that is better than thou. So we know, if we continue to go, King David, right? David would be raised up. David would be able to get the throne, okay, in due time, okay? And David would have the strength, but he would also go off in certain aspects, but he would have the, you know, the ability to repent and to turn back to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and to stop continuously going off and sinning and doing things like that. All right? And he would listen to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and he was the chosen vessel, okay? Because we know David goes back to Jacob, okay? David goes back to Abel, all right? So it was all set up for Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi to, you know, pick David. He was ordained, all right? This is why, if brothers is ordained, the hopeful elect is ordained from the foundation of the earth. It's no way we can be plucked out of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's hands, okay? From that, let's go to David. Let's go to 1 Samuel verse 17 chapter. And we can start at the top. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shekach, which belongeth to Judah, and pitched between Shekach and Azekah in Ephesus, and Salakia, if I'm pronouncing these wrong. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there were a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span, and he had an helmet of brass. And if we translate that, that's about 9 feet and a half, right? 6 cubits. So, and Salakia, if I'm wrong, brothers can correct me, but I believe it's about 9 feet and a half, right? And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels. So this is basically Goliath, okay? And this lesson is about strength and trust. So let's go down to verse 12. Now David was the son of that Ephraite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons, and the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And so this is the line of basically Jesse and his sons, and David was amongst them. All right? And we'll go down to verse 20. And so that's just letting you know that David is out of the tribe of Judah. Okay? And verse 20. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight. Slaki. And shouted for the battle, for Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath, by name, out of the armies of Philistines, and spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Yasharahla, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men of Yasharahla said, have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up, and it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living power? So David had great boldness and confidence and trust in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? And strength in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Maybe not physical strength, right? But he was also physically strong doing the feats that he did. But how was he strengthened? Because he trusted in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. At the end of the day, the same way that Samson was strengthened every time that he did something, the spirit of Yahawah came upon him, right? And it was the oath that he took as well, but it was more so understanding that carnal things aren't as much as important as the spirit of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi being upon a man. So don't think that, because brothers may get caught up in eating this and taking the herbs and all of that and all of this and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi that heals you, that lifts you up, that strengthens you, that, recovers you and brings you back to, being in a well state. So let's go down to 31. And when the words were heard, which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with the Philistine. So David was ready. He wasn't scared. Every other brother was scared. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. And this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defiled the armies of the living power. Right? Like I said, David he had strength, man, to unalive a lion and unalive a bear, to take them out, right? And that's only through the strength and power of Yahawah. David was around the age of 12, man, 13. He was a young boy. All right? He was young, right? You got to think about that. You being 12, you being 13, and you killing a lion or you killing a bear. Okay, that doesn't happen. That's not common, man. So man, this man is ordained, right? David said, moreover, Yahawah that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of the Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and Yahawah be with thee. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail, but David didn't like any of that. And David girdled his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off of him. And he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. And the men that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, of hosts, the power of the armies of Yasharahla, whom thou hast defiled. And that's how brothers got to stand, man. When you hit the corners, when you're doing lessons, when you talking, etc., man. Especially in Jacob's trouble, when they coming at us, etc., you know, you got to stand. Now, that don't mean go forth and fight. That mean if you get took into a FEMA camp, in your mind, in your secret place, you praying and you understanding that, yeah, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is with you at the end of the day. That's who you standing with. That's who you represent. That's who you rocking with. That's who your strength is. That's what your strong tower is, your fortification, your buckler, right? So you standing with Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? And he's standing with you. You doing correct. You living this life. You keeping the commandments to the best of your ability, and you doing what you're supposed to do. You have nothing to worry about, man. All right? So stand like that. And as brothers know, man, the story goes, David unalived Goliath, man. Hit him in the head and then took this sword and, you know, put it through him. All right? So all through the strength and power of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, with no fear. We have no fear. We can't have any fear. All right? We can't. Because the fearful go into the lake of fire. The fearful, man. That's in what? Revelations 21? Okay? Revelations 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and ideologists and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Right? So, as you can see, man, we can't be fearful. We can't be unbelieving. We believe in our power. To our very last breath, we believe in our power, man. And if we get unalive, we hope to see our power and come back with our power. Right? Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. At the end of the day, it ain't no wearying. It ain't no getting weary. It ain't no giving up. Ain't none of that. That's not what we bout. So with that being said, man, all praises be to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Rakah HaKadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS that taught us this truth. All right, Shalawam to the sincere brothers out there pushing and preaching this 100% doctrine. Shalawam to the elect. Shalawam to you brothers and sisters. Shalawam.